This story takes place long ago in the land of Canaan, a place of rolling hills and fertile valleys. The people who lived there were shepherds and farmers, and they lived in family groups. The time was ancient, before large cities as we know them, when life followed the seasons and the needs of the flocks. It was a world where stories were passed down through generations, and family was at the very center of everything. In those days, life was often simple but could also be challenging. People relied on the land and their animals for everything. They moved their sheep and goats to find fresh pasture, and they built their homes in small communities. The world was a place of open spaces, where the sky was vast and the stars were very clear at night. Families worked together, sharing the joys and difficulties of their lives under the watchful eyes of their elders. Our main character is a young man named Joseph. He was the son of Jacob, a respected patriarch, and was deeply loved by his father. Joseph was known for his gentle spirit and his dreams. He was the youngest of many brothers, and his father showed him special favor, even giving him a beautiful, colorful coat. This coat was a sign of his father's affection and marked him as someone special within the family. Before the events of this story, Joseph lived a relatively peaceful life as part of his large family. He helped with the flocks and the daily tasks of their household. His life seemed stable, guided by the familiar routines of his upbringing. There was a sense of order and predictability in his days, as he grew up surrounded by his brothers and the traditions of his father's house. One day, something significant happened. Joseph had vivid dreams that seemed to carry a message. In these dreams, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. He felt these were not just ordinary dreams, but something important, perhaps even a message from God. He shared these dreams with his brothers, believing they would understand the special nature of what he had experienced. When Joseph told his brothers about his dreams, they didn't react as he expected. Instead of understanding, they became jealous. They didn't like the idea that Joseph might be destined for greatness, especially since they felt they were older and more experienced. Their feelings of envy grew when Joseph told them another dream where they themselves bowed down to him. The situation became difficult for Joseph. His brothers' jealousy turned into resentment, and they began to treat him poorly. They saw him as a threat to their own standing within the family. The land of Canaan, which had once seemed like a familiar and safe place, now felt filled with unspoken tension because of their anger towards Joseph. One day, while Joseph was away from home, his brothers saw him coming. They devised a plan, fueled by their anger and jealousy. They decided to sell Joseph to traders who were passing through, taking him far away from his home and his family. This was a moment of deep betrayal, a harsh change from the familiar life Joseph had known. Joseph was taken to Egypt, a powerful and distant land. There, he was sold as a slave. Despite the terrible circumstances, Joseph's good nature and his ability to understand his dreams did not disappear. He worked hard and, through a series of events and with the help of God, he eventually found himself in a position of responsibility. His understanding of dreams proved to be a valuable gift. Over time, Joseph's wisdom and ability to interpret dreams led him to a position of great authority in Egypt. He became second only to the king. When a severe famine struck the land, it also affected Canaan. Joseph's brothers, desperate for food, unknowingly came to him for help. They did not recognize the powerful Egyptian official as their own lost brother. When the time was right, Joseph revealed himself to his brothers. He saw their regret and their fear. Instead of seeking revenge, Joseph chose to forgive them. He understood that their actions, though hurtful, had ultimately led to a greater purpose. His forgiveness opened the door for reconciliation and healing within the family. Because Joseph chose forgiveness and showed compassion, his entire family was able to escape the famine. They were invited to live in Egypt, a land of plenty. This brought about the reunion of the family, strengthening their bonds and ensuring their survival. The story teaches us that forgiveness has the power to heal broken relationships and bring about a positive new beginning. And so, Joseph's journey, from a beloved son with a special coat to a powerful leader who chose forgiveness, shows us the importance of kindness and understanding. It's a reminder that even after difficult times, healing and new beginnings are possible when we choose to forgive those who have wronged us, allowing love and connection to be restored. Long, long ago, in ancient Egypt, life thrived along the Great Nile River. This land had powerful rulers, skilled people, and impressive structures. It was a world rich in history, where the rhythms of nature shaped daily life, and grand kingdoms flourished. Before our main story, Joseph had faced many trials. He was brought to Egypt, enduring hard times first as a servant, then as a prisoner. Even within prison, he remained steady, handling his circumstances with quiet determination. Our main character is Joseph, a young man with a special gift. He could understand and interpret dreams. While imprisoned, his calm and wise nature was noticed. He often helped fellow prisoners by explaining their dreams, and his interpretations always proved true. At the story's beginning, Joseph was still in prison. Though there for no fault of his own, a routine had settled. He was not free, but he used his time productively, maintaining his thoughtful and helpful spirit within the prison walls. A significant event then changed everything. Pharaoh, Egypt's mighty king, was troubled by two confusing dreams no one could explain. His cupbearer, whom Joseph had once helped, remembered Joseph's special ability. Joseph was quickly called from prison. He explained his understanding came from God, revealing the dreams meant 7 years of great abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Joseph then offered wise counsel. He advised Pharaoh to find a discerning man to manage the land. This leader would collect 1/5 of the harvest during the 7 good years and store it safely in cities. This food would be ready for the famine. Pharaoh, recognizing Joseph's extraordinary wisdom, appointed him as governor over all of Egypt. Joseph's new position brought immense responsibility. He faced the challenge of organizing the collection and storage of vast quantities of grain across an entire nation for 7 years. This demanded careful planning, efficient logistics, and constant oversight. He needed to ensure enough food was saved to sustain Egyptians and those from nearby lands. Joseph immediately began his diligent work. During 7 years of abundant harvests, he traveled throughout Egypt, overseeing grain gathering and filling storehouses. So much grain was collected, people stopped counting it, like the sand of the sea. After years of plenty, the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph predicted. This was when his preparations became essential. When the famine spread, it was severe, affecting Egypt and all surrounding lands. People everywhere suffered great hunger. Egyptians cried out to Pharaoh for food. Pharaoh wisely directed everyone to Joseph. Joseph then opened the large storehouses. He began selling grain to Egyptians and all who came from other countries seeking food. The famine continued for several long and challenging years. Yet, due to Joseph's wise management, Egypt remained stable and fed. He continued to supervise food distribution, ensuring the population was sustained. Joseph's system made Egypt a source of food and refuge when other nations faced widespread hunger. His leadership grew stronger. This story teaches us about foresight and wise decision-making. It shows how using one's unique gifts and planning carefully for the future can help overcome even the biggest challenges. Joseph's actions remind us that preparation, guided by insight, brings security and aid to many people during tough times. Joseph, once a prisoner, rose to become Egypt's second most powerful man. He successfully guided a nation through a long famine, saving countless lives through diligent work and insightful leadership. His story stands as a lasting example of careful planning and unwavering dedication. Long ago, in the ancient land of Canaan, families lived simply, often moving across wide, open landscapes. Traditions and family bonds were very important in daily life. Our story begins here, focusing on a young man who was on a long and solitary journey through this quiet, natural world. In those days, families cared for their animals and searched for good places to live. Jacob was part of an important family. Due to past family events, Jacob had left his home. He was traveling to a distant place called Haran, where his mother's relatives lived, starting a new chapter far from what he knew. Our main character is Jacob. He was a young man, now a traveler moving through unfamiliar lands. His daily life involved walking for hours, finding water, and looking for a safe spot to rest at night. He was on his way to meet his relatives, carrying his belongings and thoughts about the road ahead. One evening, as the sun set, Jacob found a place to stop. He took a stone and placed it under his head as a pillow, a common way for travelers to rest. He lay down on the ground, surrounded by the quiet wilderness. The sky above was vast and filled with stars, a familiar sight before sleep. As Jacob slept, he had a very special dream. In his dream, he saw a tall ladder reaching from the earth up to the sky. Figures moved up and down this ladder. Then, Jacob heard a voice speaking to him from above the ladder. It was a clear and important message. The ladder appeared, and God spoke. When Jacob woke up the next morning, he felt a profound change. He immediately realized the place where he had slept was extraordinary. A strong feeling of reverence and wonder filled him. He understood that God had been present there during his dream. This was not just ordinary ground. The main challenge for Jacob was truly understanding the powerful words he heard from God in his dream. It was an important message, promising blessings and protection. This direct communication demanded his full attention and deep thought. The personal nature of these divine promises made it a profound moment. After experiencing this amazing dream and hearing the special words, Jacob's feelings shifted. His earlier sense of being alone on his journey began to lessen. A new feeling of hope and certainty grew within him. He now understood that he was not forgotten, and a powerful presence watched over him. Jacob immediately acted on what he had experienced. He took the stone he had used as a pillow and set it upright, making it a special pillar. Then, he poured oil on top of the stone, making it sacred. He named the place Bethel, meaning, house of God. From that day, Jacob continued his travels. The memory of his dream, with the ladder and the reassuring words, stayed with him. This dream became a constant guide, helping him understand his purpose and giving him strength through new places. It shaped his life, reminding him of protection. The story of Jacob's dream teaches us a valuable lesson. It shows that even when someone feels far from home or alone, they are not truly forgotten. It illustrates that important promises can be given to guide a person's life, offering comfort and clear direction. With a renewed sense of purpose and hope, Jacob continued on his long journey. He traveled toward his relatives, carrying the powerful memory of his dream. This experience had given him a clear sense of direction and peace for the path ahead. He moved forward with quiet confidence. Abraham was a man who lived a long time ago. He was known throughout the land as someone who truly believed in God. He listened to God's voice and followed his guidance, even when things were difficult. Abraham and his wife, Sarah, had a son named Isaac, who was very precious to them. God had promised Abraham that through Isaac, his family would grow to be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Many years had passed, and Abraham had proven his devotion to God time and time again. He had left his home and family to travel to a new land, trusting that God would be with him. He had faced many challenges, but his faith remained strong. He built altars and offered sacrifices, always acknowledging God as the source of all good things in his life. Abraham was an old man now, and his son Isaac was a young man, healthy and strong. Isaac was the center of Abraham's world, the fulfillment of God's promise. He was the heir, the one through whom Abraham's legacy would continue. Abraham loved Isaac dearly, and Isaac respected and loved his father. One day, a very surprising and serious command came to Abraham from God. God asked Abraham to take his beloved son, Isaac, and travel to a mountain called Moriah. There, God instructed, Abraham was to offer his son as a burnt offering. This was a test, a way for God to see just how deep Abraham's trust truly was. Abraham did not understand why God would ask such a thing. It seemed impossible, but Abraham had always listened to God. He woke up early the next morning, before the sun was even up. He prepared his donkeys, took 2 of his young men with him, and cut the wood for the offering. Isaac was with him, carrying the wood, and Abraham took fire and a knife. Abraham and Isaac traveled for 3 days. As they neared the mountain, Abraham told his young men to wait there. He said he and Isaac would go up the mountain to worship and then return. Abraham then placed the wood for the offering on his son Isaac's shoulders, and Abraham himself carried the fire and the knife. Isaac, seeing the wood and the fire, asked his father, "Father, where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham replied, "God himself will provide the lamb for the offering, my son." They continued to walk together, side by side, up the mountain. When they reached the place God had shown him, Abraham built an altar and laid the wood in order. He then bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife, ready to offer his son. This was the hardest moment. He had to choose between obeying God and his deep love for his son. Just as he was about to make the sacrifice, a voice called out to him from the heavens. It was the angel of the Lord. The angel told Abraham, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you truly fear God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. He named that place, "The Lord will provide." Because Abraham had obeyed and shown his unwavering trust, God promised him great blessings. God declared, "Because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your descendants all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Abraham and Isaac then returned home. This experience showed everyone that when God asks us to trust him, even in the most difficult situations, he is always with us. Faith means believing and obeying, even when we don't understand everything. It means knowing that God's plan is always good and that he will provide. Abraham's story teaches us that true faith involves trust and obedience. By passing this ultimate test, Abraham secured not only his own blessings but also the future for his descendants and, ultimately, for all people. It is a powerful reminder that even in our hardest moments, God is there, watching over us and guiding us.